Hi, everybody. This is Ichi from Amers. We have Farzad here. Farzad, nice to meet you. Can
Yeah,
you tell us a little bit more about what you do and what's your journey?
yeah, thanks for having me. I'm the owner of Hot Dates Kitchen, where we use all American dates, actually. I think the best dates in the world made in California, and we handcraft them in Rhode Island with delicious seed butter that we put in. And I'm very proud of the work we do, all ethically sourced, all made in America. And I actually bought that company just a couple months ago. I actually work, I'm a full-time executive coach and I work with founders and DTC customers. And I just always wanted to have my own DTC company. I love snacks. I love chocolate. And this opportunity showed up. There was a moral alignment there. Then there was an amazing business opportunity there, which I'll get into about how I decided that opportunity. And now I'm running it alongside my coaching business and my software business as
That is awesome. First of all, what motivates you to work on your DTC brand?
well. Yeah, I love candy. I love chocolate, right?
Who
And there's some good brands out there, don't get me wrong, like Unreal, I love, and I see more and more coming into the world, but I still feel like there's missed opportunities. Dates is one of those, right? Everyone has like crappy like date paste where they use like crappy dates from, out of the country.
Yeah.
I really want people to enjoy American dates, which again are the best dates, and good chocolate. Again, I think as Americans, we're better and better, we're getting better and better at enjoying good chocolate, but there's still opportunity there. And at the same time, to do something more for the world. I think I have a book, and I start my book with a quote from Henry Ford. And Henry Ford said the following, which I find very inspirational. A
Yeah.
business that makes just money is no business at all. And I
Mm,
love that quote because, he was a big believer that we should be giving back. I mean, you have to think about when he grew up during a time where there was socialist and communist revolutions. In America, we had people, anarchists killing police, doing assassinations on presidents. And he saw firsthand what happens when, as a business, we don't commit to our social obligations. So I think that's a big part of everything that I do, and a big part of this brand and why I bought it as
this is so interesting that you talk
well.
about that. So how long you been doing this business for?
I bought it in February.
Oh, this is brand new.
It's very new. Yeah,
So,
very new.
what's your what's if you were to tell yourself, younger yourself, for a few months ago, what's one lesson you learned in the past few months that you wish you knew earlier?
I already knew this lesson, so it's just being crazy and being like, screw it, let's do it, but just to have more money. So this company, why I got such a good deal on it is that it hadn't been in production for a year, so they've been gone. The valuation went down a lot, and it's because the founder kind of burned himself out, which is typical. I see it all the time. So I got a really good deal on it, but I still, I had to get a loan and I didn't have enough money saved up to be able to do the things that I wanted to. So
Mm,
that slowed things down a bunch. Of course, money is an accelerator, but money without strategy is a
yeah.
waste, and money without execution is waste too. So I feel like I have the strategy there, but the execution is the hard part, which
Yeah.
requires.
What do you think is the top one thing you would do to this business now that you have you own this business and you want to revamp it?
Yeah. So I wish I could break it down to top one thing, but
Okay.
it's two competing things. One is changing the brand, which has been very, very hard because and you did this, I'm sure too, with your DTC, your software brand. We like to be hypothesis driven. We find a persona, set of DTC customers that have a pain that no one else solves, and we
Right.
come in there and we solve it way better for them. Great, awesome. I want to do the same thing in the CPG space, and I think I know who those customers are. I know what pain they have.
Right.
But what's tough in the CPG space is the branding, right? Do
Right.
I solve that pain in a like premium, indulgent, fancy way, or do I do like the liquid death, like screw everyone else, we're different, we're unique
Mm-hmm.
way? And that's been really difficult to suss out. So
Mm,
that's one thing. So with our packaging, with our design, all that. And then the other thing has been getting into more retailers.
right.
I had no idea how hard it was to get into
No.
with distributors. I was like, oh, you have a good product. You have product market fit, distributors pick it up, but they don't care about product market fit as I'm learning. Uh, it's a
Interesting.
lot more, it's
Mm.
way more network driven
Yeah.
than SaaS. It's way
Hmm.
more network.
So you mentioned about the branding part. Like, how do you make decisions right now? How do you know where to go? Yeah.
Good question. So the classic thing, I use the story brand framework. If your founders haven't used that incredible book, I cannot recommend it enough. So story brand teaches us that once you have an understanding of who your persona is, build a brand around that person rather than yourself. What is the pain they feel? What is the world they live in? What is the solutions they want? Why is the world so hard for them? Rather than talk about us.
Right.
So I try to talk as little about us as possible, right? Talk about that. Hey, you want better snacks, you want healthier snacks, you want to feel good about the world. But all these snack companies are just like, "Rah," they're like, oh, we're healthy. But then you look at it and it's like crazy ingredients and they're like, oh, we're zero sugar. And you look at it and it's like bull crap sweeteners. So you don't want that crap. Okay, great. I have that as a foundation.
Right.
But then if we were in software, that would be enough for me. But in the CPG space, now you have to think about the visuals, right?
Right.
It's like, what does that look like? Again, in software, UX, UI, there's a literally book called Laws of UX. I use that, easy to do. In branding, it's much more emotion based. And what is the emotion we want to give to our customers? And how do we want to stand out on the shelf? And who are we sitting on the shelf with? I mean, these it's just like a lot more complex
Right.
than I envisioned. And then you
Right.
have distributors and retailers who have their own biases, right?
Mhm.
So they don't care what the consumer wants. They care about what they feel when they look at your brand.
Right.
Again, very different in SaaS, where you're just like, I solve your pain and here's how, and you get it done. So that's it.
Interesting. Very interesting. So when you talk about like when you think about growth, obviously you want to grow your brand this year. When you think about growth right now,
Mhm.
what do you think is going to be the biggest unlock for you?
Yeah, easily getting into the hands of distributors because the product has great product market fit. When
Mm.
people taste it, it hits right there. And getting into distributors is what we need more of. Now, why I decided to buy this product, the way I always think about products, a lot of I have friends in PE. Literally, my best friends in Boston was a PE guy, and the other one was mortgage-backed securities, and they lose their mind when I was buying this company because they were like, "Oh, what's the the cost and what's how much revenue do you project?" And I told them, "I don't care. None of that stuff matters to me." Just like when we're starting a company, we don't really care about that stuff because oftentimes when we're trying to go 0 to 1, as Peter Thiel teaches us, the market's not there. We don't even know what the possibilities are.
Right.
What we care about is solving a pain with a good product. So
Mm.
when I
Interesting.
think about growth, when I talk about that is there product market fit? This product had it. Is there a good reason why it didn't grow? It had that as well. The founder got burnt out, but why did the founder get burnt out? Because he didn't know how to delegate. He didn't know how to hire. He didn't know what to spend money on.
Mm.
And then what are the things we could have spent money on to grow the company? Well, this is what I do with my coaching clients too, is I say, let's look at the entire customer life cycle, right? From awareness to acquisition to onboarding to growth to retention.
Mm.
What are you doing in each of these? And when I looked at this brand, right, in the awareness channel, ads campaign sucked. I thought the branding needed a lot of help. I thought the website wasn't CRO optimized. So there you go. Product market fit. People already love it. People buy it. Lots of opportunity to grow here. Then you go to activation, right? The product pages. There's so much opportunity to improve CRO there. There's so
Right.
much opportunity to improve the uh, the checkout funnel.
Right.
Da 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 throughout the entire life cycle. Again, the email marketing. I come from an email marketing background, really weak email marketing. We know how powerful that is. So once I saw that, I was like, oh, there's a lot of untapped potential that if you just thought about the numbers like my PE friend does, you would be like, oh, this company's dying. But there's a lot of nuance. It's multivariable, and we often forget about that. We
Right.
forget about how complicated things are.
Right. That's so interesting. I'm so excited for you. Like what you talk about, definitely there are opportunities, like so many
Yeah,
opportunities there. So like
yeah.
there obviously there are so many things you talk about, email marketing and the CROs, like the entire website branding. Like if you were to focus on one thing, like one most important thing, what do you think that would be?
Right now, it'd be just more outreach to retailers
Okay.
and distributors, right? Because
Got it.
once we get in, we do a really good job. People buy.
Mm-hmm.
Um, of course, secondary to that is the pricing. The point is a little too high, but maybe with branding we can fix that. But
Gotcha.
yeah, definitely.
Go-to retailers is a topic that a lot of CPG founders like always on top of mind, and the cycle is really, really long. Like, do you have
Hmm.
a specific strategy for that?
Yep. This is something, again, I've worked with D2C brands before, and something they don't utilize enough is what we do in SaaS. What do we do in SaaS? We say, I'm going to create 5 different domains. In each domain, I'm going to create 5 to 10 different emails, and I'm going to send out hundreds and hundreds of emails a day,
Like, okay,
right? And but of course, that requires setting up the infrastructure. There's really good tools for that. Salesforce, Smart Lead, Instantly. That also involves having the prospecting, which is the hardest, I think, in this industry. But there's some good tools for that as well. The normal prospecting tools we use, like Hunter and Apollo,
mm,
do a good enough job. I've found other ones that are better, like was it Overjoy is another one I found.
got it.
But that's the thing. I think that's a small lever that only costs maybe $200 to $300 a month for you to
Right.
reach out to thousands of retailers a month
Mm.
and
That's
scale
so
that very quickly.
that's so interesting. Like, I don't think any CPG founders actively talk about using the
No.
outbound mode to do
Yep.
sell. A lot of them are struggling with like connections and all these. Go to convention centers, they spend a lot of time, go to like the trade shows and try to like sell their products. Like it's a lot of work for them, and everybody's
It is.
working with the retailers. That's very interesting. You have this strategy. No one talks about that.
Yeah. And I noticed that with the founder too. That's why he got so burnt out. You're spending thousands of dollars, days and days going from conference to conference. Maybe, you reach 20 or 30 people, maybe more. They come to your booth. And it's just so network driven. Whether even you get into these conferences, whether you, like, I just applied to McLean and they didn't let me in. It's like, okay, I'm screwed. But
Right,
no, I'm not screwed. I'm going to own it myself. I'm going to own the outreach. I'm
right,
going to own the relationship.
right.
Again, you could mention it's a less effective long-term strategy, but it's so cheap, it's so fast, it's so easy.
Right, right. That's so interesting. So if you were to make your life about 10-20% easier this year, what do you think will that be? Like, is it money? Is it people? Like, what do you think that would be?
Yeah, 100% money, but it would be hire someone to own this
Mm,
whole prospecting and outreach. And the replying and the follow up and all that. You can automate all of it, but the part you can't automate is really the prospecting part. That's hard to automate.
right. No, for sure. Like, you have to do, founder has to do most of the foundation work before you can delegate to other people to like do that. Because that's like important. Um,
Yeah,
Cool. So like, what do you think your vision is in like 1 year and 5 year and 10 years out?
yeah. So in 5 to 10 years, I want to be able to create snacks and all the genres or categories that I care about and I love
Yeah.
that I think people aren't doing not only like a healthy, good version, and by that I don't mean zero sugar and all that bull crap. But by that I mean like we're using good ingredients, like
Mm,
dates, and we're using ingredients that are minimally processed, like whole dates rather than date paste. And then also, so again, in these categories, we're providing a good tasting, delicious thing that's also healthy and not just bull crap, but also that are missing the ethical and moral issue, the considerations that I care about, right? Like again, I think Mr. Beast is doing an interesting job where he's like, hey, I'm going to source cacao from non-slave labor. Amazing, awesome. But I think once again, the product is lacking. And it's very hard to find products that marry both. Say, hey, I'm going to do ethical sourcing, I'm going to do made in America, but I'm also going to taste good.
right.
And I'm also going to be healthy. Uh, that's what I hope to do across the genres, especially chocolate related. But
Right.
I would like to go everything. Like for example, there's a tea that one of my friends in Ecuador taught me about called guayusa. Delicious, amazing. It's like caffeinated, alternative to coffee, alternative to yerba mate, maybe. But again, very low presence in the US. I think there's so much opportunity to bring that to Americans and for us to enjoy it.
That's so interesting. That's so
Yeah.
interesting. That's true. Well, like, so, like, if you were to give one tip to all the CPG founders out there, what would that tips be?
The biggest tip would be stop fighting fires every day and focus on long-term things and delegate the fires as much as you can. Um, the more you spend time fighting fires, the less you're able to take a step back, have the wherewithal, the mental space, the psychological factors you need to look at the big picture and drive the company forward. And I think too many founders, again, across every industry I work with, they just get stuck from meeting to Slack messages to emails, and it's like this robotic mode they fall into. It's just like a robot day after day after day. And we can't have you being that as the leader. As the leader, you have to be the one who sees the horizon and leads people there rather than a robot who just acts all day long.
Well, well said. Like I am founder myself, so this
Yeah.
resonates me 100%. Like there's so many things like a founder has to do. Like learn how to delegate, learn to trust people, learn to like scale yourself. Is the important step for bringing your company from like one to 100, even 100 to 10,000, even more. Um, well, thank you
Yeah.
so much for your time. This is
Yeah.
amazing to get to know more about your stories. I'm pretty sure a lot of people can benefit from your tips. Oh, thank you very
Thank
much for
you.
your time.
I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah.